This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4.
Here's Barrett from shaking big. Hits a three. That's eyes in the crowd with Barrett. 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the layup, backs it home. Gets it back, keeps it out. Barrett for three. RJ Barrett from downtown. Quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Smith to the buzzer. It's good. J.R. Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. No man could overlook. Puts it in. They're on their feet at Madison Square Garden. Alley-oop to Ewing. That'll make the Garden more.
Patrick Ewing faced a double team, but still was able to hit.
Finish. And the foul. Easton ducks under. Got it. With 8 left.
What is going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with another episode of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Hope everybody's doing all right. Episode 132 tonight. We're gonna keep doing our draft scouting reports and keep hitting on them, hitting on these pre-draft prospects. And but you know, what's today's date? It's it's June 1st already, guys. June 1st as I am recording, 8 p.m. Wow, I can't believe it's fucking June already. I feel like time flied. Even though we're in a bit of an odd time where it kind of feels like we're stuck, time is paused. At the same time, I just feel like you look up and it's already practically the beginning of summer. And that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. It's June 1st. Oh, that's sad in a way. I feel like I was just looking back and it was April 1st and we were just getting the baseball season. Talks of the baseball season being delayed just a second ago. Now we're already, over 2 months in. It would have been. And of course with the NBA, they're starting to they're still talking about revamping and maybe heading straight into the playoffs and a rest of the season that would not include the Knicks, obviously. So that's what's been happening in the sports world. Obviously, there's been some crazy, unfortunate events going on in the real world, in society. And I don't usually like to bring up this type of shit, societal issues and politics, because this is a sports podcast. It's just supposed to be an escape. So I'm not really going to touch on that. But I just want to, we're praying for the people in Minneapolis and the unfortunate events that have taken away small businesses by these barbaric animals out there who are tearing apart society and just creating even more issues. This was supposed to be something that gave us focus on a tragedy that happened. Instead, we're kind of taking the attention away from that specific event. When that cop killed Floyd, that was supposed to be, we're supposed to be focusing on that, and it kind of started out with protests, and then it got out of hand. It just became people looting and rioting in the streets. So I just want to pray for people who are involved in this. I want to pray for the police, and it's unfortunate that our wonderful law enforcement all around the world, 99% of them, 99% of them really, who are just wonderful at doing their jobs. It's unfortunate that they have to kind of get a bad rap now, and the narrative is kind of shifting against them. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of bad things, unfortunate things happening right now. So I just want to give my prayers some, and hopefully America can get back to where we were, and be better than we were yesterday. That's the end all be all here. That's what we want to achieve. We want to be better than we were the day before. But yeah, I don't want to, I don't usually like bringing up, things that aren't related to sports, because then it's not what this podcast is. So here on BD4, guys, we're going to continue talking about sports and picking apart Anthony Edwards tonight, combo guard from UGA from Georgia, played for the Dogs for a season before he declared for the draft. So we're going to get into his pros, cons, and potential fit with the Knicks if they decide to draft him and all that stuff. But yeah, I have not been doing much. I did take a couple of days off from the podcast, as you if you follow us, if you subscribe to us, you would know. If you keep up with us, this is about, I don't know, a 3 or 4 day layoff, which is honestly probably our biggest layoff in a long time. We've been busy during this quarantine. Uh, but no, we're back here. I just decided to take a couple of days got tired of just reading up. It covering the Knicks as often as I do, gets tiring. Believe it or not, it does. So I had to take a second. But we're back. We're doing as we said, and gonna cover Anthony Edwards. And I actually, past couple of days I've been there was that new Lance Armstrong 30 for 30. I'm still not finished with the first part. I know the second part was they played it last night, Sunday night. Is today Monday? Yeah. Time's all mushed together right now for me. But yeah, the Lance Armstrong 30 for 30 seems to be very good so far for me. Now, I don't know if it was just a 2-part thing. I think it is. I think it's over now, but I like it so far. I'm about 45 minutes into the first one. That's very good. I actually still have to, speaking of documentaries, I still got to catch up with the fucking Last Dance. And honestly, I might, at this point, it's been so fucking long since I've watched the last one, I might as well just watch 1 to 10 all over again. I think I was in the middle of the 7th one, and I'm not just gonna go back and watch from that exact point. It just doesn't make sense. So I think I have to rewatch that, and then I'm like that a lot whenever I watch TV shows. Unless I'm really really intrigued, I have a terrible attention span. So unless I'm really fucking interested in what I'm watching. And not that the Jordan docuseries wasn't interesting, it was, but again, I'm very ADHD. My attention span is fucking ass. So, I can easily I'll get back to it. I procrastinate. I'll get back to it and I never do. I'll get back to this. I never get back to that. I'll get back to this one. I'm very like that, and it's on to the next one. I'm very, very ADD. So, but that's it. That's really all that's been going on. Just me being unproductive as usual. So let's head to break, guys. We're gonna head to break, and as soon as we get back, we will discuss Anthony Edwards and his potential fit with the Knicks, his strengths, weaknesses, and all that fun stuff. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back. All right. Hey fellas, really quick before we continue with the show, I just want to remind you, if you haven't yet subscribed to BD4, be sure to do so right now. Just go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Interesting prospect, I would say. Somebody who's very and again, don't I say this all the time? Interesting prospect. But Anthony Edwards, no, he's very I don't know. I wouldn't hate the choice, but there's a lot of ifs, and the upside is there. Obviously the Knicks they're looking for any kind of guard who can create and kind of knock down the shot. And speaking of knocking down the shot, before we exactly pick apart Anthony Edwards, that's kind of been in the headlines, I guess, a little bit, that the Knicks are reportedly looking for a lead guard who can, I think Ian Begley quoted, knock down a shot. And they're also looking for a forward who can stretch the floor. These guys that could complement RJ Barrett. Excuse me. So that's kind of been in the I guess headlines a little bit. Looking for a lead guard who can knock down a shot and a forward who can stretch the floor. And obviously LaMelo Ball has intrigued the Knicks to where, to a point where we're kind of hearing that that Leon Rose might want to trade up for him if the Knicks don't get the pick they're looking for, the lottery. So that's an opportunity. But when I heard that they were looking for a forward who could stretch the floor, obviously, like every other Knicks fan, Carmelo Anthony came to mind. Everybody's kind of pushing this, narrative, I guess, of a Melo reunion. Kind of a homecoming to cap off his career. While it sounds really bittersweet, it sounds fun, awesome, heartwarming, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if that would be good for him. I really want to go. I want him to go somewhere where he could find success, man. One last time to just try and get that ring. And even if it's not going to get him a ring, I want him to play on a team that at least goes deep in the playoffs. I feel like him, yes, it would be nice for him to come home to New York and end his career there. We could re-sign him and he just come back home and but I feel like for him it's just if I were him, and I'm not really sure how he's thinking, Melo, I would want to fucking go and try to win real quick and then maybe play an extra year and come back home later. But but no, we're talking about him because he's a free agent coming up. And people, he could still hit shots. He scored 15 points tonight. For the Blazers this past season. They could still put the ball in the bucket. He's a professional bucket getter. He still has that knack. And also you have to think, is it really the best idea, for the Knick youth? We're still trying to, our number one priority here is to still build around our kids and get them their touches, their shot attempts, their ball time, right? And it is Carmelo Anthony, who's still very ISO reliant. Yes, he could be a catch and shoot spot up guy here and there, but he's still going to do his little ISO game in the mid post and play his game there. He's still kind of gonna take his shot attempts. How much of a backseat could he take? I'm not sure that's the best option here. If we had issues with Portis and other guys taking away ball time and touches and shot attempts, I don't think that's going to change under Carmelo Anthony, professional scorer. I just don't think it would be a great idea. Trust me, I would love it. Very under the radar. I would not be, I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't, it hurts to say because again, this is the dude who kept me with the Knicks, right? I always say Jeremy Lin got me into the Knicks. I hopped on the bandwagon, not going to lie, but Carmelo Anthony kept me here. That 2013 season kept me here. Unfortunately, he's gone now, but I just don't think it would be the greatest idea. Okay, I don't see it. But you got Gallinari. He could probably you could make a little reunion with Danilo Gallinari, the Rooster, and represent the green, white, and red. Bertans, Davies Bertans, excellent stretch four. We've heard talks about Christian Wood, a young kid, power forward, who could potentially be part of your future, another building block. So I think there are some other options here the Knicks should look at first before thinking about Carmelo. And then there's also the choice of, do the Knicks go an unorthodox, route in this upcoming draft and select Obi Toppin, right? And then have Lamar Peters be their lead guard, from Westchester. Maybe give him a shot. I'm really high on Peters' potential. I really am. I think he could be a big part of their future. But there are some options. That's a good thing. It's never bad to have options. And then the last couple of things we've heard or last one thing, Tom Thibodeau is still kind of reportedly the heavy favorite under for Leon Rose, and I think that's the one he might go with in the end. We've also heard many Knicks fans at least want Kenny Atkinson. A lot of people don't want Tibbs just because of his old school style. I love the old school style. I do think there needs to be a balance, and I just worry that he's not going to really help develop some of our kids, and he's going to prioritize the vets again, like we had in the previous two coaches. 3, really. But Kenny Atkinson also, I think he's planning on interviewing. There's supposed to be an interview with the Knicks. Now, I'm not sure how that's going to go down, with the virus and everything. It might have already happened, but there was that. Kenny Atkinson. So, just a couple of headliners. But let's get back to Anthony Edwards. That's really who we're supposed to be talking about tonight. So I don't want to waste too much of your time talking about rumors. So Anthony Edwards, yes, a combo guard who's about 6'5", 220, 6'9" wingspan, so good size, combo guard from Georgia, 18-year-old kid, doesn't turn 19 until August. And he had a productive season for the Bulldogs, across 32 starts, where he averaged 33 minutes a night. He put up 19.1 points, 5.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists versus 2.7 turnovers. And he shot a shooting line of 40.2% from the floor, 50.4% from 2, 29.4 from 3, and 77.2 from the free throw stripe. Did this on a volume of 15.8 field goal attempts, 8.1 2-point attempts, 7.7 3-point attempts, and 5.3 free throw attempts per game. Defensively, gave you 1.3 steals, 0.6 blocks per game, and 2.2 personal fouls. So productive line, right? Some efficiency issues, which we will touch on, but also we're going to touch on his ability to put the ball in the bucket. So yeah, he's somebody who I would say he's a top 3, pick. Projected to, many have him projected to go number 1. I wouldn't be surprised, but I would say don't expect him to be worse than number 3 on the board. And I think the ceiling here, if he can keep improving on his flaws and maintain the strengths that he already possesses, you're seeing a star scoring guard, an all-star, fringe all-star maybe, but a guy who's definitely going to put up some numbers and be a good starting, scoring guard. That's the ceiling. I would say the middle ground / floor, maybe middle ground, 6-man type, but worst case scenario, if nothing goes as planned and this kid's just not what everybody thought, mid to low rotational player, right? So now some of the comparisons I've come across, I really don't hate any of them. I see similarities in each of these. I've seen Russell Westbrook, maybe because of the big-bodied combo type of build. Bradley Beal. Yeah, I see the smooth type of swagger, maybe. Lance Stevenson in his prime. I thought that was very interesting. And then Zach LaVine, one I came up with personally, J.R. Smith in his prime. And then I've also heard, actually my buddy made this comparison, Colin Sexton, which we're going to touch on that comp a little bit later. But because it's not the greatest comparison, but yeah, that's pretty much that. And now some of the strengths of his game. Let's go over some strengths, weaknesses, and maybe the swing factor here. But some of the strengths, I would say number 1 here is his athleticism. I also have his size and strength, shot creating, shooting upside, and then defensive upside. Now we move on to some of the weaknesses. We'll talk about the shot selection and facilitating. We'll talk about his defense and his motor as a weakness. And then, the big swing here, the swing I would put be his shooting and defense. If they contribute, if they continue to improve, that'll really depict his NBA future. So yeah, let's start with the strengths. We'll start with the size and strength as his first pro. But yes, very good size for a combo guard. I think he's more of a 2 than a 1. He's got great height, weight, wingspan, everything very solid for a 2. So he'll provide some lineup flexibility to the New York Knicks just because of that alone. And he's a good finisher at the rim. Given the size, he absorbs contact very well. And I think, I'm talking off the top of my head here. I do not have the numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he was over 55% at the rim this past season with Georgia. Don't hold me on that exactly, but I'm pretty sure he was above that mark. And then, obviously the size would also indicate that he has some defensive potential at the same time. So that's pretty much all we've got for size and strength. And then the number 1, the focal point of his game is that that physical specimen. He's an athlete, a pure athlete, just explosive all around as an athlete. Great vertical, so he can dunk over anybody, and he does. And he's also got great straight line speed. Great straight line athlete with speed that could just blow by you. Good quick first step, very quick to the rim, gets there effectively and easily, and very tough to contain because of that speed on the break and transition. Somebody who can score on the break or even facilitate on the break. So he's very multi-dimensional when he's in the open court. Anthony Edwards. So the athleticism is there, the size and strength is there. Two very important factors for a guard. And another important factor for a guard, you want to be able to create your own shot. And obviously that's, again, what the Knicks are really looking for right now. Somebody who has the ability to create a shot for himself and teammates. And Anthony Edwards has a solid, good handle. I wouldn't call it an advanced handle or anything like that, not top level, but it's good. It's good enough right now to where he could become even better at it. He can fluidly piece together solid dribble moves and, create space doing step backs, side steps. And he's very shifty with the ball. Good footwork. He likes that. He's got a pretty sharp jab step, quick and sharp. Likes to use it on the 3-point line. And he's good in one-on-one situations because of his ability to kind of, handle the ball. And then the shooting upside, he can create shots. But, I guess the big question here is he going to consistently make his jumpers? Does he have that 3-level potential someday? I would like to believe there's something there in terms of his jump shooting. I think he has pretty good form. Seems like the mechanics are, for the most part, in sound. Pretty quick release. He likes the pull-up jumper. I know he likes to shoot that pull-up mid-range a lot, sometimes to his own fault, but there's potential there. He likes those off-balance jumpers, similar to Cole Anthony, who we just dove into in episode 131, where he likes to shoot off the bounce and take those, Derrick Rose-esque mid-range jumpers where he elevates over the defender. He's also good, though, as a spot-up guy. He can set, when he sets his feet, right, and he shoots standing still, he's pretty good. He's pretty effective there. I think he had about 10 or 11 more pull-up jumpers than he did games played this season, so pretty good. So I think there's spot-up potential, and there's potential to be good off the bounce. I think it's more about shot selection, which we'll dive into in just a second. The last positive here I have is the defensive upside and the potential to where he could eventually become a defender who could check all three positions, right? He's got the athleticism with quick feet and quick hips. He's got the size, the length, the strength, and pretty good reaction timing as well, to where I think he'll be able to be pretty versatile defensively if he can continue to, give a better effort. He'll be able to check three positions at the NBA level. So some potential as a point of attack on-ball defender, and maybe some off-ball potential too as a help defender because of that quickness and reaction timing. But now the weaknesses, they're not many, but they do hold a lot of weight. So the number one thing I have is shot selection and facilitating. Again, it's, he's got the size and play style for a two guard. And so the Knicks are looking for a point guard. If they get Anthony Edwards, I don't think he's going to be your true point guard. I think he's going to be one of those, more of a high volume streak shooting guy, who's just all about buckets. And that's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad for him, but is he the best fit for the Knicks? Somebody who's very, at times he can be very inefficient and inconsistent. That's why I made the J.R. Smith comparison. He's all about scoring, and that's not bad, right? He scored in double figures in all but just 5 of his 32 games, but, it came at a cost sometimes. He was below 40% from the field in 13 of those games, below 30% 7 times, and, shot 50% or above in just 7 of those 32 games. So he had his issues. He settles for so many jump shots, guys, so many jumpers he settles for where it just bothers you, right? With that size, with that explosiveness, he needs to attack more and optimize his tool set much better than he does. I feel like he needs to take advantage of his tools and his abilities. But, he, for a guy who took 8 3-pointers a game, it's not pretty when you're shooting sub 30%. That's not a good look. High volume, low efficiency is the absolute worst, disparity there is. You don't want that, And this is a guy who shot 50%, again, inside the arc. So I just thought, with his ability to get to the rim and being so quick and so explosive at the rim, why didn't he do that more? Why doesn't he? Will he in the NBA, right? I just feel like if he continues to play, the way he does with more of a lower IQ than a higher one, it could be a nightmare pairing with someone like Julius fucking Randle, right? It could be an inefficient, jumper-happy, too much freedom offensive scheme when they both share the floor. Could you imagine how ugly that could get? Sure, there are times where they could potentially look unstoppable, but it could really, really look bad and poor on the Knicks' part if those two just were off at the same time. So that's my big concern. Number one is shot selection and facilitating. Now, secondly, last but not least here, to wrap it up, for Anthony Edwards, it's that defensive motor. Not a good defender right now. It's simply just because he needs to buy in more on that end. He is not always engaged, guys. He needs to give a better effort. He floats off the ball way too many times. You'll always see him standing upright. Very rarely does he make that extra hustle play. So he just makes you think, does he really have that drive in him to be an NBA cornerstone? Right? And that's where what we said, we're going to bring back Colin Sexton. That was kind of where that comparison came to play. Somebody who just has all the athletic tools, but does he have the mentality to really, really thrive in New York? I don't know, man. He's very interesting to me. Like I said, I don't, I'm not fully against drafting an Anthony Edwards, but I don't think he's in my top 4. He might be 5th. Again, I say LaMelo and Killian are a 1A and 1B. Cole Anthony will probably be 3. Obi Toppin will probably be 4. And sure, you could toss Edwards at 5. I don't know. I have to finish doing our reporting, and maybe I'll pick him later on even. But yeah, I don't know, man. You let me know. How about that, guys? You let me know what you think about Anthony Edwards, and if you think he'll be an effective Knick. So we are going to. What time? It is. Yeah, it's time for our NYK question of the day. Let's get to it. Okay, so last time out in episode 131, we asked you, Melo led the Knicks in scoring in 2013. J.R. Smith was second in 2013. Outside of Amari Stoudemire, who played in only 29 games, so we will not count him, who was the third highest scorer on that Knicks team in terms of points per game. So one last time, that was the question we asked last time out, and I'm going to give you the answer. It was Carmelo Anthony led the Knicks in scoring in 2013, with J.R. Smith second. Outside of Stoudemire, who was limited to just 29 games, who was the next highest scorer on that team? So we told you to message us message me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or comment on one of the platforms that the podcast is on, and let me know the answer. Nobody actually, nobody, as I expected, nobody came through, but the answer is Raymond Felton, who averaged 13.9 points through 68 games that season. Raymond Felton was the third highest scorer on that Knicks team back then. But hey, they were good. They won 54 games. So that's the answer to that question. Now tonight's question. All right, another one. This was let's see. Okay, here it is. Outside of Elfrid Payton, who led the Knicks with 7.2 assists per game this past season, who is the next best assists per game player? So outside of Elfrid Payton, who led the Knicks with 7.2 assists per game, who had the second best assist per game on the Knicks this past season? Pretty funny answer. Kind of just gave it away if I said that. But yeah, let me know by messaging me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or comment on any of the platforms that BD4 is located on. Guys, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate all the support I'm getting. And once again, man, please continue to pray for America and our wonderful police force, and and the unfortunate events, and for all the small business owners, and every one of your lives matter, and that's the way we're gonna go here. So hope everybody is all right, and let's keep a positive outlook on this whole thing. Hopefully we'll be all right in the end. So guys, thank you for coming by. That's gonna be it for this episode of BD4. I'm your host, Rob Carbone, with episode 132 of BD4. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.